When you think Austria, obviously you think whiskey, don't you? If you don't, stay tuned and I'll change your mind. Cheers, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Bourbon and Booze. I'm so glad you're here. I have an exciting episode for you, so stay through to the end so that you can see all the results of this quite amazing lineup of whiskey that we have before us. But first, your support means so much to us, so please make sure you hit that like, but more importantly, hit that subscribe. We're coming up on 1,000 subs really quickly here, and I am super excited because that's going to change a little bit about how we are able to promote ourselves and do things for you guys and bring out more content. As you noted, we slowly have reduced from 5 days to just 3 days, and we've taken some big gaps because we've been trying to work behind the scenes on building the channel. Currently, yes, I'm telling you the truth, we're building a new bar. So make sure that you do hit that subscribe so that and the notification bell, because we'll be doing videos on the construction of the bar. Probably beginning sometime next week with like a pre type of deal. So make sure you do hit that like, subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe. So let us discuss Austria. Now, when you think about whiskey, you're thinking about American, Canadian, Scottish, Japanese, maybe Indian. I think about Indian, but not a lot of people think about regionalized whiskeys from around the world. You got Australia, you got lots of countries in Africa that are doing whiskey that are starting to come online, and I can't wait to get some of those. You have Mexico's got several whiskeys. I believe some of the Caribbean islands have whiskeys, and most countries in Europe have whiskeys, and you don't really think about that outside of Scotland or the UK or Ireland. But Austria actually has a budding whiskey industry that's coming online, and it is quite interesting and surprising. Now, several years ago, my wife and I, we traveled Europe and we went to Austria, and we picked up a bottle of this, I always say this wrong, but it's UUAHOUUA, whiskey, and they spell it WIESKY. Which kind of cool, but none of the other whiskeys in Austria do. It's a 7-year single malt sherry finished whiskey. And we did an episode on this it's got a glass cork, and it doesn't open the way glass corks are supposed to open. So we're going to end up popping it up. So it's got a glass cork, but it's got the plastic stopper. So back in September of 2019, so about 4 years ago, we did an episode on this, and it got quite a good response. But most importantly, it got a response from the son of the grandson of the founder. And he told us that we were very lucky to get this specific bottle because it's not being produced anymore. They've changed their lineup, and I don't have any more of their lineup. And I recently went to Austria but didn't have a chance to get any. And this was one of his grandfather's favorite blends, but they weren't going to produce it anymore. And he gave a little bit of history how his grandfather started doing this and how it evolved, and was having a little bit of problem getting Austrians to really get into Austrian whiskey. Austrians are more interested in beer. If they drink whiskey, it's going to be Scottish. And it was a fascinating little bit of information, but the breakthrough that occurred after that helped bring some other ones around that we'll talk about. But this is a delightful sherry cask. Very almost Speyside reminiscence. It's a 5 grain, so it's got corn, wheat, barley, spelt, and corn, wheat, barley, spelt. Oh, and corn, wheat, barley, spelt. There's another one. Corn, wheat, barley, spelt. You guys might know what the missing one is. I can't remember right now. I just researched it and it's off my brain. But it's a 5 grain whiskey, aged 7 years. Kind of got a little bit of almost the Macallan aroma to it, but more of a Glen Levitt. Very sweet, flowery. You got that essence of the sherry. Non-assuming. I think it's 80 proof. I believe so. Yeah, it's 80 proof. It's a very non-assuming or in-your-face flavor. There's no real notable, I don't know, flavor profile out there that would set this aside. However, it is very good. Okay, so Grants. This is very reminiscent of a sherry finished Grants. I actually really love this, and the only reason I'm not finishing it, and I probably will eventually, sooner rather than later, is because this is the guy's grandfather's favorite whiskey, and he said I was very almost privileged. It's kind of weird how we have to work on language, but privileged to have it. And I am. I feel very privileged to have it. One of my favorites. It's in my no-touch counter, which is a cabinet that you have to specifically ask when you come to the bar. Otherwise, the other mass majority is you could just pick and drink. Very tasty. Then I was gifted this one, and this one's $50, not available in the U.S. that I know of, other than probably some very unique retail stores. I know it was distributed here, but I doubt you're going to see this particular one. Now, you might see this brand, Uahausa. The guy, he tried to explain how to say it, and I couldn't, which is why my wife always nags me for trying to get these correct. But I don't know if you can find it. If you do, I would definitely pick it up. It ran about 50 euros, so that was at the time about 70 bucks. The euro has dropped since the last time I went, or the time I went here and the last time I went, so not too expensive. Now, I was gifted a Manapalawa from my daughter-in-law, and this is the Manapawala 1782 whiskey. It is also 40 proof, and I think it is, actually it's 40%. It's 43%, so it's 86 proof. It's using Scottish grains, imported Scottish grains to malt, twist cap. Now, this is widely available pretty much everywhere that I've seen. In liquor stores, the big box liquor stores, and I really do enjoy it. It runs about $25 to $30 here in the States. A little bit stronger earthiness to it. Still very reminiscent of a Scotch. It's aged in virgin American oak barrels. It's got a hint of smoke to it. And some chocolate. Now, this is from the, let me make sure I get this right, the J.A. Bazawisky distillery, which they're more famous with vodka and gin. So you probably see the vodka and gins more than this, but a little bit stronger notes, a little bit heavier earthiness or floral than this, less sweeter on the nose. This is much more sweeter from the sherry cask. A little bit stronger bite. Of course, it is 86 versus 80. A little bit more developed than this. Now, granted, this I got in 2021, this in 2019, and they've both been open. So we can discuss whether the validity of air in the bottle or the age of it is a factor. There's absolutely zero sunlight in this bar. Even at this time, this wasn't placed where sunlight would get it. So I believe sunlight has a bigger issue on whiskeys. That's why there's no windows in my bar. However, there's a lot of people talking about air and evaporation and stuff like that, which is debatable. But this is absolutely delightful. Now, when we rated this back in 2019, we rated it a 3.5 out of our 5 scale. And we rated this, we rated it a 4. And I would still stand by that. This is slightly better, a little bit cheaper. This is more sentimental and more, I don't know, personal to me. This is a little bit better. Now, recently, I went to Austria and I picked up 2 new ones. And I had an option to get a 3rd one, but this was in our inbound flights into the Balkans, and we stopped at Vienna. And I chose to only get 2 bottles in Vienna, and I just had to go with the same bottles, the same company. There was another one, and I'm 90% positive we did not get it, but my memories fades quickly. But we have these bottles, and this is the Rothker's whiskey, Rudiger II. Now let me backtrack a little bit. I said this was 5 grain, and I'm completely wrong. This is just a single malt whiskey. This is the 5 grain. This has got the wheat, the barley, the corn, the spelt, and there is one more, but it doesn't say on the bottle in English, so not sure what it is. This is also produced entirely in Austria, where this imports the, these aren't open even. These aren't imported into, or this is imported Scottish grains. These all are, as far as I understand, are all local grains to Austria. Now this is, they spell whiskey W-H-I-S-K-A, or E-Y with the E. This one is without the E, and this is the one that's W-I-E-S-K-Y, more of a Austrian spelling. So this is the Rudiger II. It's a handcrafted artisan whiskey. It ran me about 60 pounds. However, I believe it is not that much outside of the duty-free airport. 43% or 86 proof. So this is a 5 grain whiskey. Very kind of dusty, earthy, reminiscence of a Highland, if you can grasp that. Little bit of florals and chocolates. Some sweetness to it. Now this company here, the Rothkers, is probably the biggest company in Austria right now that's producing whiskey. It's kind of got a weird bitter taste. It's probably that spelt. A little bit off-putting. It smells really good though, and if I were going to review it, it's we'll do a review on it, but I would say that it's probably a mid-range. I'm not a huge fan of the 5 grains. I know a lot of U.S. companies are doing 5 grains now, or 4 grains. Not a huge fan. Recently, I was part of a blending panel, and there were multiple options. And we, in my group, chose only 2 of the options and felt it was good. And everybody else chose multiple options. Some of them chose all the options in their blending. And at the very end, for whoever won the right to have it bottled for distribution, for sale by this company, we won. They said hands down ours was the best. So you don't always have to mix everything, including the kitchen sink, in your whiskey. That's one of the problems I have with infinity bottles, and that might be a really good video for us to do, is what the purpose and what success and failures are on the infinity bottle. Kind of unique. Not necessarily my favorite, definitely not my worst choice. I would still drink this. I will have to run it by Cody and see what he thinks. And my wife, she's got a much better palate, and she'd probably not have a negative opinion of this because there's no smoke. She's not really into especially peated smoke whiskeys, which tends to be a problem because I am, and so we don't share a lot of the scotches. She's more into the Glenfiddichs and Glenlivets, and the non-smoke is the Macallans and stuff. Glenmoray, I think her favorite whiskey is Glenlivet 14. She calls it a breakfast whiskey. All right, this is their Wilhelm III. Now, both of these people are a part of the Rudiger and the Wilhelm III Austrian history. You can look that up. This is 46 or 92 proof. This is a handcrafted as well. I believe this is a single malt whiskey, entirely produced in Styria, which is a special section of Austria. I think it's more the mountain section, closer to Switzerland. So a whole different flavor profile and grain. Wow. This has a powerful aroma. Very medicinal, almost chemical. Wow. Like nail polish. Now this cost almost 100 euros. Wow. I have never had a whiskey that smells like this. Not necessarily nail polish, but more like a paint thinner. I am getting used to it, and I could grow to like it, but first time somebody takes this, they're not going to like it. Little minty, chocolatey, and woody. I think both of these are about 7 year. Huh, interesting. Tastes like it smells. A little bit of spice to it, so a little bit of probably a rye essence. Weird funkiness. Oh, I'm not sure. Not sure about this one. Weird. Definitely need my wife and Cody to take a chance, and maybe some other Scotch drinkers. Weird. If you have ever had these, let us know, especially on this one, the Wilhelm III. Wilhelm, right? Wilhelm, or Wilhelm III. Out of all of these, obviously this is probably my favorite because of sentimental reason and a personal reason, but this one readily available in the US, Monopoloa, is great. There are some other brands out there. Please leave those in the comment. I have yet to try them. I need to get back to Austria. I don't know when my next go through is going to be. I am headed to Italy this year and in the summertime, and I think actually one of my flights is through Vienna, so I can look for the duty free. I'd really like to just get into town. I miss Austria. Vienna is amazing and would like to explore a lot more of it. I only spent like a couple days there and didn't get to explore as much as I wanted. Weird. Yeah, for the cost, this is quite weird. But, as you know, watching this video series, we come across some really weird stuff, tons of weird stuff from all over the world, and it just takes a little bit of getting used to and getting better. And that's why I always say at the end of every video, there's no bad whiskey, there's only good whiskey or great whiskey. And for somebody who doesn't like something and calls a whiskey trash or swill or you know, dump it down the drain. What they are losing sight of is that they don't like it. Other people do. There wouldn't be a market for something that is bad whiskey. And there's some really poorly made whiskeys out there, usually come in a 175 plastic jug as a store brand. And probably 80% pure alcohol, whatever it's called. Neutral grain spirits. This is weird. All right, tell us what you think. Austria is a surprise to me. I know there's a lot of great French whiskey. We've done some review on that. There is some German whiskey that I'm trying to get my hands on. We did the Balkan whiskey just recently. We've done Italy whiskey several times. Awesome, excellent. Slovakia, Slovenia, Czech, and Hungary. All great whiskeys. Just when you travel, open your mind, try something regional, try something different, check them out. Same here in the U.S. when you're traveling around, find that small town distillery just pumping out something. Check them out. You might be surprised. Some of my favorite whiskeys are from no-name, small-town whiskey, and that's what actually promoted us developing this channel, is to get you those hard-to-find or unknown whiskeys. All right, you guys, I hope you have a great Tuesday. We're going to see you on Thursday and again on Friday. Thursday is up in the air. I don't know what we're doing. I have this really cool idea about discussing something that most whiskey enthusiasts have, so we'll talk about that. And then Thursday will be a cocktail. But until then, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Check out Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And remember, there is no bad whiskey. There's only good whiskey and great whiskey. All right. Cheers, everybody.